What's up, gamer? Coobs here.
Hey!
Welcome to the video. Thanks for being here. Welcome back to another episode of Sunday Night Invasions. This time we're playing some Dark Souls 3 in Elden Ring. So here we are in Ariandel. We're gonna put our summon sign down so we can invade. We're just gonna see how this goes. So the general concept of this one is just gonna be using things that my character here, Unkindled Coral, who has gone through a full playthrough of Dark Souls 1 and of Dark Souls 3, as he has now joined the lands between. Well, he's been here for a while. He started here, and then we went back in time to when he started his quest in Dark Souls 1, and then continued his quest in Dark Souls 3. And he's got some backstory videos on the channel if you're interested. I don't blame you if you're not interested. They're a little bit different than some of the other invasion content that I put up on the channel. But so the whole idea this time is that we're using his Dark Souls 3 weapons. We've got his weapons from Dark Souls 3. So starting off here, we got the glaive, as you might recognize as the Knight Rider glaive, and of course it has its weapon art on it, spinning slash. And yeah, we've got a really great invasion here. The blues joined in. He's like, wait, what's going on here? Oh, I get it. The orange guy's my enemy. Oh, look at that. They both raised their swords at the same time. That was cool. That was pretty cool. I liked that little moment. So these are, if you've never been to a Sunday Night Invasion with us before, well, welcome. Thanks for being here. Again, as I've said that already once in this short time that we've been together. But the idea is that I sit down on a Sunday evening and do some invasions, and then I bring those clips together and I drop those as a video the following Sunday. So all these invasions occurred Sunday previous to when this video is being released. And I gotta be honest, this was actually more of a Sunday afternoon invasions. I had my fantasy football draft that Sunday evening, so had to plan ahead, get out, do some invasions a little bit earlier in the day. But you know, it's all the same. Just for the most part, we like to sit down, do some invasions with a character that maybe I haven't played with in a while, and the biggest thing is just having fun with it. That's my biggest goal is to just have a good time, kind of keep things very laid back, very chill, not over stressing if I don't win the invasion. And remarkably, I've been able to find that most of the time I have a lot of success when I have that sort of mindset. And I don't know if it's just like the fact that I'm kind of like putting myself into that mindset and saying, I'm gonna be calm about these invasions, gonna just go try to have a good time. If we get some good clips, we get some good clips, but we're not gonna overdo it. Oh, there goes our first on-screen death. The Halig tree, gamers. It's definitely, for some folks, it's a tricky terrain. Oh, there goes another one. Dang, those blues. Gotta love those blues. Oh, something's sticking out of my helmet right now. That doesn't look good. Yeah, so just sitting down, just having a good time with the invasions, and then we put together a video, just kind of showing some of that stuff off, and we chat and we have a good time, and I've really been enjoying this little series. So hopefully you're enjoying it as well. We used our phantom finger so that we could get better positioning. It took us to a worse place, but then we had some luck when we used it again. So here we're back up where the host would be. Oh, and he's summoning in some cooperators, so that's wonderful. We got more friends to hang out with. So Unkindled Coral, like I mentioned, in his journeys as an unkindled one, starting as an ashen one, I guess starting as the chosen undead rather, and then walking away from relighting the first flame made him an unkindled one, and then going through the entire storyline that Dark Souls 3 has to offer, and along the way kind of making his own path. And so where he ended up, and it's kind of fascinating to me because this is all like, most of this is stuff that I didn't plan ahead of time, you know. I made the character on Elden Ring, and what I did was I put the I think it's called the host trick mirror, which allows me to look like a phantom, okay? And then I went back and I did my Dark Souls 1 playthrough with this character, and then my Dark Souls 3 playthrough. But at the end of my time in Dark Souls 3 with this character, I had kind of had this little bit of a story arc, and he ended up invading, but as a warrior of sunlight was kind of like where he ended up. And it was kind of like had things to do with rage and being like why he was red, and so then when you invade as a warrior of sunlight, oh, say goodbye to that host. That was a fun invasion, wasn't it? Tons of people falling off the map, like 5 different people that we took out. That was just a good old start to the Sunday night. Love that. But yeah, so he had reasons as to why he was red, and as to why he would go and invade. And so when you invade as a warrior of sunlight, as a sun bro, then you have more of like this kind of like a dark orange reddish hue rather than the traditional just kind of red. And so I was like, that's really perfect for him invading an Elden Ring as a phantom. And so sometimes he might be friendly, you know, he's not always super hostile. Most of the time he is, but sometimes we can kind of trick the host and the party into thinking that we're like maybe an NPC who has joined to help them out. They don't really know what they're doing, or trick them into thinking that we're a friend, and then we can kind of have like a fun betrayal happen. So just different things like that. So I really enjoy this character. We're playing at meta level, quote unquote, and so we're at level 125 with max upgraded weapons. And so here we've got our follower Saber. Yeah, follower Saber from the Ariandel DLC. And coming up, we're gonna see one of those sweet Dark Souls 3 backstabs. Yeah, you guys want to see that one again? Let's put it in reverse. Give me my sword back, gamer. And then we're gonna put that right back through, just so you can get that one more time. Look at that. That was just a great Dark Souls 3 backstab right there. So already, just, you know, having these couple invasions happen, really just feeling it, you know, that afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, I should say. And, you know, just having a good time with it. And I always, as always, encourage you all of you gamers out there, to have a good time with your gaming experiences. Have fun with your time, you know, gaming, because that's what it's all about, you know? We, as much as we might love being competitive, and we might love winning, and we might love teabagging our opponents after we've won, you know, what it really comes down to most of the time is just having a good time with it. You know, we've got so much that goes on in our day-to-day, and, you know, the price of everything is going up. The price of gas, the price of milk, you know, bread, cereal, peanut butter, all of it. The prices are going up for whatever reason. You know, some of us might be making more in our whatever we do for work. Maybe we've gotten a raise, maybe the minimum wage has gone up, whatever it might be. But it still seems like sometimes just to survive can be a struggle for some of us. So when we have the time to sit down and to play some games, make sure we're having fun doing it, because that's what it's all about. So here we've got a Dark Moon Blade. You know, I can't make this stuff up, gamers. Dark Souls 3 in Elden Ring, and we've got a Dark Moon Blade coming to take out the invader. Absolutely freaking love it. I went nuts when this happened. I just had the biggest smile, the biggest, cheesiest grin on my face when I saw that it said Dark Moon Blade, because I was like, this is absolutely amazing. And then we're gonna get a co-invader as well. You gotta love when you get a co-invader. It just, man, just bringing back some good positive vibes. Had the right mentality, had the right timing, I guess, you know. Just a lot of things were coming together for us this Sunday. So again, hopefully that you're enjoying it. At the time of recording and releasing this, Labor Day is coming up on Monday. So this video will come out on a Sunday, the Sunday just before Labor Day. So happy Labor Day to any of you gamers out there. Hope you get to enjoy yourselves this weekend. Maybe spend some time with your friends or with your family, having a little bit of a barbecue or cookout. I was fortunate enough to spend some time with my dad the other day. We went out kayaking on the river, and that was a good time. It was really nice to just get out and enjoy some nature, get some sunlight, you know, living in a van down by the river. And yeah, while we were out there, so I had this like little waterproof pouch thing that you could like put your phone into, and then it goes around your neck. So I gave that to my dad so he could put his phone inside of it. And he likes to take pictures sometimes, so we're just kind of, you know, cruising down the river, and off to the side was this crane, you know. And if you're not familiar with a crane, it's kind of like like a flamingo that had the color taken out of it. So big gray bird with long wings and long legs, and he's just standing there looking all majestic on the side of the river. And as we got closer, my dad, you know, he takes his phone out of this little pouch so he can take a picture of it, and he's trying to get as close as he can without startling it. And then of course we get close enough, and the crane's like, all right, you guys, close enough, I'm gonna take off. So he flies to the other side of the river, you know, and so we just continue. And then about 5 minutes later, we see him again. He's on the same side of the river that we're on. And so we, you know, naturally we approach, we get closer. Dad tries to take a picture. He probably got a couple of decent shots, and then he would get up and he would fly across the other side. It was just this really cool experience happening. He was like our tour guide basically the entire time. We saw him probably, you know, 5 or 6 different times. He would make his way to the side of the river that we were on, and then fly over and come back a couple minutes later, and just super cool, super majestic. And there we go. How about that one? These little cheesy goobers. Well, you know what? It's Dark Souls 3, so we're going to invade them again, because we're going to put our sign down real fast, and we're going to get right back in there, and we're going to invade these guys, and they already know. Oh no, Unkindled Coral's back. He's going to get us this time, you all. He's going to get us. Yeah, that's what's happening here. I love that. But yeah, so just a good time out enjoying nature. Go out, touch some grass, gamer, and just enjoy yourself this weekend. I hope that you know, everything's going well for you, and that you get to have a little bit of a break. Maybe you've got an extended weekend. I don't really know like what kind of jobs give the day off for Labor Day, but maybe if you work one of those jobs and you got Monday off, you could have a little bit of an extended vacation, and maybe play some more games, whatever it might be. And there we go. We've got our revenge. We got those gamers. We showed them who's the boss in the little tight tunnel. Silly place to host. Silly place to invade. It's like, what the heck are you supposed to do there? You know, they've even got the fog wall at their advantage. If they don't like how things are going, they can just go right through that fog wall. Just the cheesiest place to host. What goobers. Here we've got the same guy that we did our backstab on earlier, and in this one we've got the follower's javelin. If you don't know, it's got a spear toss on it, so we'll go ahead and show that off. I figured, you know, let this guy have his moment. He was having a good invasion there, so don't want to ruin that. So that was good fun. Overall, like I've said already, just good fun, good vibes, good time. And I was really happy that things went the way that they did. This was an interesting little thing. He's summoned in, but it's like it's taken him a long time or something. I don't know exactly what's going on. I was a little bit confused. I didn't want to, you know, I don't want to interrupt or anything. But we're going to see here, you know, one of those classic moments where the host lets the Phantom and the Invader go head to head, you know? Gonna let us have a little honorable duel where we're both gonna heal, of course, because like why wouldn't we? We got all these flasks. We're not in the arena, so. And I think what happens here is he sees that my physic triggered, which gave me some health back, and so he's like, oh, that guy just healed. I'm gonna heal, and you know, it's just a whole little thing. So, and no big deal. You heal, I heal, we all heal together, you know. And so we're using the Morning Star here, and the Morning Star with its weapon skill, Perseverance. So we've got Endure on this one, and Endure's not, you know, it's probably not the greatest. I don't even know if I use it in this invasion, if I use my weapon skill, but that's what it had in Dark Souls 3. So that's what Coral has got in Elden Ring, and I've also got the spell Lightning Weapon, because you know in Dark Souls 3 you've got the bundles. I think Pine Resin bundle or something like that. Pine Resin and Charcoal Resin bundles. So you can like use them real quick and get some electricity on your weapon. So I've got that going on. I've also got the magic grease, because when I was playing, oh, there we go, there he is. So I'm gonna explain what happened just in case you missed it. They noticed that another invader had just joined the world, and as soon as they saw that, the host decides, oh no, you guys, you can't finish that fight. I have to jump in and I have to try to kill you now, because there's another invader and we're not okay with losing, you know. So typical fashion for these hosts, they can't take an L on the chin, and you know, who can blame them? You know, it's probably human nature not wanting to lose, but I don't respect it. So you had my respect initially, and then you lost my respect, and that's how it goes sometimes. That's how respect works, you know. And so we switch over to our Great Sword of Judgment. Now I went with the Banished Knight's Great Sword for this one, and because it looks I thought that it looked the most similar to the Great Sword of Judgment from Dark Souls 3, like style-wise. But then after I was spending some time using it, I was like, oh, you know what? This isn't the right moveset. Like the light attacks have that, you know, have the altered moveset where they kind of have like this weird swish to them, instead of just a traditional like slam attack. And so I was like, oh, so this maybe, you know, I'll get docked points for not being lore accurate on this one. Also, you might notice the magic attack that my sword shoots out, as well as the color that my sword glows afterwards, is yellow in this you know, version. I don't have the purple magic attack from Dark Souls 3, but we do what we can. We get as close as we can to being authentic, and that was a bummer right there. I've noticed throughout the fight that the host and I were having some latency issues, but I thought that for sure I was going to be able to trade into that and do enough like damage that I wouldn't get hit in return. But you know, it is what it is sometimes. You win some, you lose some. Hopefully our fellow invader is able to win that matchup. So as I'm out, you know, doing all of these invasions, again, sometimes we get into some where we don't necessarily have to be hostile to the party right away. And so this little group of gamers, I noticed when I joined them, they didn't all just kind of rush and attack me, but instead they all used the mimic veil. And you can see we got a deer over here. This guy turned into a stick, and then we've got a guy over there. He looks like he's a tombstone. So I was like, oh, you know what? This could be a fun little palate cleanser, a little bit of a break for the viewers. So let's enjoy this one. So we're all just gonna kind of, you know, we're gonna do a little prop hunt, you know, silly. if you've ever played any of those games, the prop hunt game type, can sometimes be kind of fun, you know? It's like a refreshing change of pace. I always appreciate that. Here we've got everybody's turning into a deer, so we're gonna use ours. We're gonna try to turn into a deer, gamers. And again, just the whole gist of it is just having a good time, not taking ourselves too seriously. I've had a lot of fun recently, not only in invading in Elden Ring, but just making different characters. I put out a video last week of one of my newer characters. Goes by the name Daigle the Druid, and on that build we've got a bunch of weapons and armor and shields and stuff like that are not metal. We're not using metal in our equipment, and so that has led to some not only some cool discoveries of some awesome weapons that are out there that aren't metal, but also just some fun gameplay moments where we've got this kind of inspired character. And that's when Coral died of embarrassment. You know, all those gamers were making fun of him because he couldn't turn into a deer like they could. You know, it's a bummer sometimes. People can be real bullies, you know, and what can we do about it but move on? And look at that one. That was a shocking finish to the bout. Didn't expect that. We both exploded simultaneously, so that was a cool one. Here we've got another invasion at the Halig tree. I like this area of the game, and I think that this whole, so like my first playthrough, when I discovered this area, I was like, holy cow, like there's so much more to the game than most of us can like even comprehend at the beginning of it. You know, you start in Limgrave, maybe you venture down to the Weeping Peninsula, you make your way to Liurnia, you finally get to the Altus Plateau, and by that point you're like, oh my gosh, like there is like just so much going on in Elden Ring. And then after, you know, taking on Morgott in the capital, you find out that you're going to go to this mountaintops of the giants, which is like through a forbidden pathway, and everything just continues to build and build. And then maybe some of us find the Halig tree, and just wow, man, just wow, and absolutely blown away by some of the design in the level here. Of course, as you're like working your way to the actual city of Elphiel, like you're navigating through this tree that has these structures built into it. Just so cool, so cool. So since I've recently gotten a PlayStation 5, it like tells you how many hours you've spent on different games that you've played. And so when I downloaded the PS5 version of Elden Ring, it said that I had, you know, like 0 time played on it at first. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So it's gonna like reset everything. But then if I go and I like choose to like look at the PlayStation 4 page for Elden Ring, it says I've got 1,700 hours spent playing the game. So that's just gonna continue to go up as I play on PS5 now. But like 1,700 hours in, you know, a little more than, I guess at this point, probably like 20 months or so. I mean, that's quite a significant amount of time playing one game, and it's been just such a joy. Like when I think about the price tag, when I think about the money that I invested into Elden Ring and what I've gotten out of it in return, it's just like absolutely worth every cent. Would recommend it to any gamer out there if they think that they would have fun with it, because there's just so much to explore, so much going on, so much that you can get out of the invasion mechanic and even the co-op mechanic. Like playing through the game with your friends could be a whole heck of a lot of fun, and all the bosses, and then you can do different playthroughs with new characters, you can do New Game Plus. I mean, there's just so much to be excited about. They've continued to patch the game, which is amazing. We've got DLC to look forward to. Just like I couldn't articulate how wonderful it is to have been able to spend this much time with such an awesome game, and it's just one of the reasons why I'll continue to be a fan and supporter of From Software and everything that they do. I'm probably said it a couple of times already on the channel, but I'm looking forward to picking up and playing Armored Core when I'm able to. I've got to kind of make the decision right now. I've decided that I'm going to save that for a later date, because I'm really looking forward to picking up and checking out Lies of P when it launches. So Armored Core might be something that I get, closer to the holidays. But I'm excited to jump into that. And I've also got Sekiro in my back catalog of games that I'm still looking forward to playing. I've only spent probably about 3 or 4 hours with it. I think I might just start a whole new playthrough on the PS5 rather than like trying to jump into where I was. I think it might just be easier and make more sense to just start from the beginning, start fresh. But so I've got that I've just been kind of waiting for the right time to get into. And so I mean, I just don't think that there's any better developers out there than From Software at the moment. And it's also like it's certainly a testament to their, I think maybe their, I want to say their character as a gaming company. Like, there are a lot of games coming out that are slapping on this higher price tag of $69.99. And with the amount of success that Elden Ring had, I think that From Software could have looked at that and said, you know what, I think that we could probably still have good sales for Armored Core 6 if we slapped that higher price tag on it. If we charged $69.99 for it, $70 US, I think that we could still have success. I think that there would still be people out there who would pick up that game at that price point. And I think that they would be right in making that assumption. I do think that there would be a lot of people who would still pay, $70 in order to play the newest From Software game. But they still decided to launch that at that $60 price point, which I have just a ton of respect for. There's a game that came out recently. I'm not trying to trash talk the game. I haven't played it. I don't really know. Maybe it's a great game, but it's EA published. It's called Immortals of Avium. I don't know, something like that. It's like a first-person magic game or something like that. But it's a story-based game, and most people are saying that it takes them 12, maybe 14 hours to beat it. Like 18 hours if you're like a completionist, and they're charging $69.99 for it. And it's like it's the developer's very first time making a game, and it's like, what, like, on what grounds or what merit do you think that you deserve to charge that price for that game? And I'm not the guy who makes those decisions, or figures out what they need to make or what they need to sell it at in order to make a profit or to make it worth their time and development costs or whatever it might be. But it's like, if this is your first game and you're trying to show people, hey, we can make good quality games that you guys should check out as gamers and that you should spend your money on, I don't think that you enter the market at that $69.99 price tag. I can totally understand a game like Baldur's Gate 3 launching on console and having that price point of $69.99, as they are pretty well established developers who have made the previous Baldur's Gate titles, as far as I know. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass there, and this is like a totally new studio. But like, those games are well known and they're beloved, and from the reviews and the feedback that Baldur's Gate has been receiving, and the amount of hours that people are sinking into a game like that, that's one of the biggest things in my mind, at least, when it comes to the price point for these games is like, how much time am I as a gamer going to be able to spend and enjoy fresh and new content from that game? If it's you're telling me that it's 18 hours at most for my completionist playthrough, and I'm probably not going to play through the story again, that you're saying that that's going to cost me $70, $75 after tax, then it's like, that, get out of here, you know? But if it's something like Baldur's Gate 3, where it's like your first playthrough could possibly last 180, 200, maybe even 300 hours, then that's kind of a different story that we're talking there, you know, if that makes any sense. So just something that I've kind of been thinking about recently, because there's all these games that have been coming out. I mean, even Final Fantasy 16 released on PS5 with that $69.99 price tag, and I just saw recently that they had it on sale, so you could pick it up for $55 US, and that's, you know, and it came out pretty recently. So I think that even that is like, maybe they noticed like, hey, we sold well, people loved the game, but maybe we didn't sell as well as we thought that we could, or whatever it might be. But it's like, just, I feel like there's kind of like been that sweet spot with the $60 price tag on these games, and it's interesting to see what games people are willing to pay a little bit more on, and what games people are saying, hey, you know what, that's not worth it for me. So as always, you know, you can make those decisions on your own. The value of money and the value of time, and whether or not something is worth it for you, is going to be different than it is for me. If I'm picking up a game, I know that, especially after picking up something in the last couple of years, I was really excited for a game called Biomutant, and I accidentally did the silly thing of pre-ordering the game, and then as the review embargo lifted and people started reviewing the game, they kind of came out and said, hey, like, some of the things that Biomutant is doing is really great, but some of it's also really just not, you know? And it was like kind of like too late for me. I had like already paid for the game. I had basically already bought the game before it came out, and then I was a little bit upset with what I got, you know? And so that has really kind of informed me in my decision making to say, like, hey, I'm going to be a little bit smarter, I'm going to be a little bit savvier about the decisions that I make and the games that I invest in. And so that's, you know, for me, it's like, that's why I'm excited for Liza P, because I got to play a really awesome, well-polished demo of the game that I really enjoyed. I like the aesthetic, I like the gameplay, I like everything that they've got going on, so I'm super excited for that. But I've got this long wish list of games that I'm looking forward to playing, so maybe you're in that same boat as I am. But again, just thanks for being here. Have fun in your gaming experiences. Happy Labor Day to you. And that one was a little bit unexpected. But hey, that's how these go. Peace and love, gamer.